People think about addiction as a particular substance. Addiction is so much more than just that. It's not about the substance, it's not about the behavior, but it's about the causes and the conditions underneath.
Welcome back. You're watching the Dr. Nandi Show. My first guest had an acute drug and alcohol problem. He says addiction is really the disease of looking away, quote unquote, a failure to face up to pain or fear in your life. But 26 years ago, he found the courage to look at his problems head on, and ever since then has been in continuous recovery. He's also pioneered a new way to treat addicts. Please welcome my friend, Tommy Rossen. Thanks for being here.
Absolutely.
Appreciate it, my friend.
So glad to be here.
Yeah, Tommy's amazing. So you've had a very successful career helping yourself and others recover. Tell me about the basis of your addiction. What do you think led to your addiction?
First thing I want to say is most people think about addiction as a particular substance. So I drink too much, I'm an alcoholic. I'm addicted to heroin, I'm a drug addict. Addiction is so much more than just that. It's not about the substance, it's not about the behavior, but it's about the causes and the conditions underneath. So there's a condition known as addiction. It is any behavior you do despite the fact that that behavior brings a negative consequence into your life. If you continue that behavior, that's in the realm of addiction. So now already we're taking an expansive view of addiction.
Absolutely.
Drugs, of course, we all think about that when we think about addiction. Alcohol, of course, but how about food? Do you think we have a food problem in this country?
Huge problem, epidemic.
And our food addictions lead to type 2 diabetes, heart disease, obesity, childhood obesity.
But one of the first addictions people are introduced to is sugar. And we've talked about this before. Sugar is the first, substance that people are addicted to, with dopamine coming out and all of the pleasure factors. But yeah, please go ahead.
Yes. In addition, we have all the relationship disorders, codependency, sex addiction, a lot of shame around that one in particular. Just another place that human beings look to try to feel better. Beyond that, you have all the money-based addictions. So shopping, gambling, being constantly in a state of debt. I call those the big five, but recently the big five became the big six.
Yeah.
And technology addiction.
Yeah, big time.
So using technology not to enhance your life, but to avoid your life.
And tell me, I actually believe, and I'd love to hear what you say, I actually believe all of us are addicts of something. And I don't think anybody escapes. So it just depends on how society views you. For example, I remember in college and high school, and I was a super overachiever. And if I did not do well in something, I decompensated. And now that I look back at it, listen, my parents loved it. Here's a kid who's overachieving, attaboy, right? But really, I was getting my self-worth based on an external factor, whether it be your grades or getting into a school or being in medical school. And so I don't think anybody escapes, but it just depends on how acceptable that addiction is. If you're a drug addict, you're a derelict. Get out of here. You're weak. But if you're an overachieving business person who thrives on your business succeeding, you are a badass. You're great. And so I think in society, we forget about the essence, right? That it has to come from within. And we've talked about this. It's your personal relationship, and strengthening that is the basis, isn't it?
Yes. And I'm so glad you bring this up. Basically, everybody's on the spectrum. So the spectrum is, what if we change the word addiction to the human condition?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're in a condition where we're human beings and we are struggling in a variety of different ways. Everybody's facing something. And our natural inclination is to try to solve problems. The main problem we have generally as human beings is we don't feel well inside. We feel a sense of separation or loneliness, or maybe we felt a sense of insecurity or abandonment. The world is not a safe place. My needs are not going to get met. And as a result of those feelings, we start to reach out. And you said it best, as a child, the first thing we reach for is sugar. Right. And I call sugar the real gateway drug.
Absolutely.
So it starts there, and we start to set up a rhythm. And this is where people really start to understand addiction. The rhythm we're setting up is discomfort is the cue. Anxiety is the cue. Stress is the cue. We go into a routine to address that cue. The routine for the child, reach for sugar in some form. Feel better for a little bit, then crash. There's your rhythm. Discomfort, seek out a high, crash, repeat.
This is really fascinating. Such a pleasure.
My pleasure.
Please stay with us. You don't want to miss this.
Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Partha Nandi, and if you enjoyed that video, you're going to love the next one. It's full of incredible information to help you start your health hero journey.